All right. Hello and welcome everyone to the first office hours of the Amiga project. So great to have you on board and great to have you here as well, Mike.
You bet.
Good to see you. All righty, let's get going. We were just talking about how early it is for me here and a bunch of other people. So well done for getting on nice and early, everybody. It's really good to see, and it just shows your commitment. I do remember when, like years ago, when I went kind of through these programs, it was one thing that I was very adamant on doing, and some of them were like 4 a.m. in the morning, and I would get up there with my laptop, sitting on the couch,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just
yeah.
going through listening. It's look, it's not crucial to do that, obviously, because you do have replays, but it just shows your commitment, and well done for all those people that are getting up at really crazy times during the night or in the morning and all that kind of stuff. So we will kind of try to vary some of these times a little bit. So that's okay. We'll try and cater for lots of people. So, all right, let's get into it. So, office hours, as we kind of mentioned before, this is really just a bit of a chance to talk to us live, right? This is it's not these aren't pre-planned really. We've got a few slides that we go through, but essentially they're not pre-planned, so you can ask us anything. We will go through and have a look at all the Q and A, the Q and A box, and go through the questions in there. Um, but we do have some pre-planned questions that we've noticed that you guys have been asking and supportive. Let us know what they are. So we've kind of prepared a few slides to go through and ask questions. Now, generally, what we'll try and do is just cover the modules that we've done. Okay, so we're not gonna. I'm gonna try and avoid the questions about modules that are in the future because they'll be covered in the modules, coming up. Um, so just trying to, we'll stick to those ones. So in this office hours, we've got module one. These is just a recap of all the videos that you would have now gone through, and hopefully you went through and understood them all and and all that kind of stuff. Um, Most people have said they've all been good. So we'll cover some of those questions. Okay, so as I said before, customer support have compiled some of these slides and questions just so we can clarify some of them for you. All right, so and look, they're in no particular order, so they're a little bit scattered all over the place. So let's go for it. So if you've got an existing domain, can you transfer it to float hosting? And does this mean that I can't do anything until it's done? Look, yes, look, domain transfers are going to take a little bit of time to go through and propagate. So just be a little bit patient. You can, if you want to get going quicker, you can just point your name servers through to what I mentioned there, NS1 dot float hosting and NS2 at float hosting, and that will just speed things up. Usually, when you update your name servers, they can take 24 to 48 hours to kind of propagate through all the various DNS providers in the world. But that will allow you to continue, but it will take a little bit of time for you to transfer an existing domain through. So just be patient. These things are outside of our control a little bit. You just got to wait for the domain providers to talk to each other and initiate the transfer. That's all. Okay, so the next one's around transferring as well. This is when you've just kind of recently purchased a domain. And what happens there is domain providers usually don't like you doing too many changes all at once. So there is a 60-day waiting period that you will have to wait. And these are just ICANN rules, are not ours. These are international rules. So just be patient. Again, going back to that previous slide, if you just update your name servers, then you can still continue. Again, after the 24 to 48 hours, once they've all kind of propagated through, and then after the waiting period, then you can then unlock it, and you'll get a kind of like a transfer code that you'll need to put into float hosting, and you can initiate it from there. So again, it's possible, but just be patient and wait for those restrictions.
Yeah,
All
and that's
right.
also a bit of a security issue there as well, because if you can imagine, ICANN is trying to protect your account and protect your domain so that nobody just grabs it from you or registers it under your name and then throws it somewhere else. So There are delays on these just so they can kind of check those things as well. And it really discourages anybody trying to take something from somebody else. So that's, think of it that way. And then yeah, you can still keep running it. It's not like you have to wait the 60 days. So
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Excellent. Okay, what have we got next here? So when trying to connect the domain to Shopify, I get an error.
yeah.
You're okay. Just be patient. That won't last for too long. It can take a little bit of while. It can take a little while. Just give it a couple of days. It's nothing to be worried about. Um, it's just Shopify going through doing its checks and all that kind of stuff. So just be patient for that one. It'll go away. And it will eventually sync up. So that's cool. Let's go through the next one. In video 10, when I try and update the CNAME record, it is blank and it doesn't look like the video. Okay. This is you're gonna yeah. I don't think you're gonna run into this, or not many people are gonna run into this. It just means that your CNAME record's not really set up in the back end. So just go through and create it. I think there's a here we go. Yeah. So after you change the A record, just go through and just put it in. Basically, this slide just means that it doesn't have, it hasn't found a current value in float hosting for your CNAME record. So you just got to put the shops.myshopify.com into that value, which is in here. So just create one. So no problem with that one. It's fine. Doesn't matter if it's blank. Just put something in there, and you'll be good to go. Um, Okay, in lesson 5, Vaughan has his email set up, but my email hosting is still pending. Yeah, just be patient. It's just wait. Um, Once you start your, click on purchase, it does take a while. It's a little bit of a manual process. The guys at Float Hosting have to go through and just do a few checks and all that kind of stuff. So just be a little bit patient. If you haven't got anything in kind of a day or so, then just send a support ticket. But they're actually pretty quick. So just give it a little bit of time. Wait for it to become active. Again, just be patient. It'll go through. All right. My domain is shown as red on my hosting dashboard. Does it mean I can't? Okay, this is just SSL error. Yeah, as it's got
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Um, Again, just be patient. These domain things just take a while sometimes. It took 24 to 48 hours for my SSL to go through as well. Because I've got to go through, like from a technical point of view, it goes through once you've got your domain set up, then it goes through and creates a certificate and all that kind of stuff. And those things have to get pushed through all the various bits and pieces and what have you. So you just got to wait for it to go through. Nothing you need to do. You don't need to go in there and create an SSL or a certificate manually or anything like that. Just wait. It won't slow anything down, especially in the setup phase. So it's okay.
And actually, on that note, I've talked to support. Don't create one manually. If you think you can speed it up and you'll just do it yourself, no, 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 don't do that. That's going to cause a conflict. They're going to have to cancel it, undo it, and then restart over again. So for anybody here that's a little bit technically savvy, they know cPanel, they know they can do it. Just let it go. Let the guys in the back end take care of it, and it'll be done as soon as they can.
Yep, definitely. All right. And again, if it hasn't for give it, I don't know, 2 3 days maybe, sometimes even longer. I would even say 5 days. And if it hasn't come through in 5 days, then reach out to support. That means something potentially could be wrong. So, but just give it a bit of time. All right. Why am I seeing a
Hmm.
403 forbidden error? Just means it hasn't connected yet with your domain, really. Yeah, so you haven't connected your domain to your Shopify, or you just haven't waited long enough. Again, it's probably just a patience issue. You just got to give these things a little bit of time to go through. That's all. Okay. Why is my coupon not working? It should be working. Let's have a look. So most likely you may not be using the actual link, so make sure that you are using the link. So the link is here just for reference again, and it is at the bottom of the video, number 4. So just make sure that you're using that link. And yeah, good tip here: do not use the number sign, the hash, in your coupon code, just use the alphanumeric. Uh, so if you've only just joined the course, just wait for it to come through. It may just not have come through yet. So that's the only other reason that it won't be working. If after all those things it's still not working, then yeah, reach out to support. But it'll probably be one of those three things. All right, when I apply the coupon, I'm not seeing the discount. Again, okay, just make sure that you're using the correct link and you should be fine. Look, the coupon gives you, just to clarify, I think we've had some questions around this actually as well, or support
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
Um, the coupon gives you the first 3 months of email hosting free, okay, and it gives you the domain free for a year. Now, after the 3 months, it will cost $12.95 per quarter, and yeah, you'll be charged from that ongoing, obviously. You'll get the domain for for a year for free. That's fine. The coupon only works for the package, so you can't just go and get a domain name and try and use a coupon. It's the package. That's why you've got to use the link. So if you just sign up for email only or whatever, then it won't work. If you just sign up for a domain, it won't work. You have to sign up for the complete package, the domain and the email. That's why it's important to use that URL there, the link. Otherwise, yeah, it won't work. Okay, I think I covered that. Anything you want to add there, Mike?
No, that one's actually pretty straightforward. Well, we say straightforward, but even the next slide, if you go one more down, it actually shows a screenshot of this because there is the odd question that comes up about why am I not seeing the discount? Well, I mean, the discount is technically showing zero, so it is actually being applied. You just maybe not, it's not obvious that there's a discount because some websites will actually show discount amount, but it's showing that you got the 12.95 is completely gone. The domain cost is completely gone. So the discount is actually applied once you punch it in and once you reach the screen.
Yep. Okay, good stuff. All right. Is there a step that I need to complete after video four? I do believe from what support are telling me, and I had a quick look at the video. I didn't mention about the email verification. So Float Hosting will email you just to confirm that your email address is okay. So yes, just make sure that you go into your email or check your email account and click on verify. That's what you need to do. So yep, just read all that. That's good. So thanks for letting me know that. I think the details for that have been put down the bottom of video four as well, I believe, in the members area, just to remind everybody.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so that's cool. Yep. All right. Is float hosting GDPR compliant for the UK and EU? Yes, it is. Look, again, this is kind of where it comes into the domain privacy. So by default, your information, if you haven't selected a who is privacy, the ID protect. I think I go through and do it when I create the video. I think it's an extra. I can't remember now, $2 or $3. In cost per year to actually do a who is privacy ID protect, so it doesn't put up your details. But if you don't do that, then it will put up the relevant details in your who is, and any everybody can look at the public who is by default. You can just go through and do that now. So if you want to go and check your domain, just type in who is lookup in Google and find one of them. There's tons of them there,
Yeah.
and put in
Yeah.
your domain, and you'll see the information that gets shown. So yeah, so there are certain domains that do not allow for privacy protection of any kind. So just remember that. So yeah, there are some ones, but look, .com and .net they definitely do. So that's all right. Okay, moving on. What address do I use? All right. So this is always a tricky one to get through
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah.
addresses, and we always get questions about this. I know, and I try to keep it as simple as possible in the video. So In your for your location for your store, you can use your actual address or you can use a virtual address. It's perfectly fine. One thing I might just clarify is don't use my address. um, you it will you're going to have issue if you do that. You're going to have issues when you go and get um, Google Merchant Center approval because Google Merchant Center are going to check it and they're going to see that there's other stores out there with my address, and you're going to get denied. I can guarantee it. Okay, so if you've used my address for whatever reason, either accidentally or on purpose, I would recommend highly to change it to something else. Go and get your own virtual address. You can go and get a free one. It's just Google virtual address for free, or if you want to pay for one, that's fine as well. But definitely go and use your own virtual address, and it's recommended to be unique. So make sure it's unique. Don't copy other people's ones. Um, okay, so for your store, you can use a virtual address. For anything that's kind of legal orientated or setting up accounts or in the back end, then use your real address. All right, so for example, look, I'm in Australia and my demo store that I'm using for this example is in the US, right? I'm creating a US store. So I've used a US virtual address for my store, as you can all see there in the videos. But for anything legal, so for my, well, when we get into Google Ads setup and Google Merchant Center and all those kind of things, you want to use your real address. When you are setting up your Shopify account, use your real address, all right, because that's what it's linked to your payment. So when you go through and set up Shopify payments, you need to use your real address, all right, because they're checking, they'll validate it. Everything else store related, then use your store address, all right, which can be a virtual address. Now you can use your real address as your store address if you want as well. That's fine. Um, yeah, no problem with that as well. But just make sure that they're all the same. So your storefront address should be the same address on all of your pages. It needs to be very, very clear um, and consistent to get through. So module 3, we're going to be going through setting up and getting ready for the Google Merchant Center and applying for the Google Merchant Center. So please don't do that yet. Please wait for the videos. It's
Oh yeah.
a very specific way to do it. Um, all right, so yeah, so just make sure that your virtual address or your store address is on all your web pages and all that kind of stuff, which we'll get into more in module 2, which will be coming out soon. So yeah, so hopefully that kind of clarifies. I know it's all kind of a little bit different. So is the address different if I'm outside of the US? I think I just kind of went through and used that or explained that. Yes, use a virtual address in the US, that's fine. So that's all right. And to be honest, I mean, if I wanted to use my Australian address in my store pages and all that kind of stuff, I can. It's not going to really make too much difference. It's perfectly fine. People don't really go into the privacy page and kind of look at that kind of stuff really anyway. Um, so it's not going to cause any problems or anything like that. So yeah. So look, I know addresses. I know we're going to get a whole ton of other address questions in the Q&A and all that kind of stuff, but we'll try and answer them. But just to kind of try and keep it as simple as possible, your store address can be a virtual or an actual address. If you've got a warehouse or whatever or a business address, you can use that. That's okay. No problem. All right. Anything you want to add to that, Mike? If that.
Well, I mean, I can give my real example, which I mean, you and I are both not Americans, right? So I'm in Canada. I'm using my Canadian ad or my home address here for most of my pages anyways. And yeah, I'm not worried about anybody finding my address on my contact page or whatever it is and I don't know, calling me or I don't know whatever they're going to do anyways, but yeah, it's never really been an issue there. I've had other stores where I've set it up where I have an office address because I have a legal entity set up, so I use that address. But really, anything related to billing and accounts, just like Vaughn was saying, use your real address, use your credit card address, whatever it is. Anything on the front end, just whatever address you want to have public facing. It can be the same, it can be your personal. And I've done both, and I still do both. I mean, I've got a variety of different sites out there, and they're all set up a little bit different. And even though I'm in Canada and I'm targeting Canada, I can have another store where I'm still using my address in Canada, targeting the US, and it still works fine. It's just a matter of, like you said, having all of the front-facing pages with all matching addresses, and then the back end, you got to have your real address. Simple as that.
All good. All right. Thank you. Rightio. Let's see if that kind of helps some of those questions. All right. Now, I am not in the US, but I want to sell in the US. Do I need an EIN? No, you don't need an EIN if you are not in the US. Now that, yeah, look, I think if you set up a company in the US, then you're probably going to need an EIN to do that, to go through all that kind of process, but you don't need to in the US. I sell in the US. I don't have a US company. Um, it's fine. I don't have an EIN. You don't need to. So nice and simple.
Hmm. Yeah.
uh, all right. I'm in Australia. Oh, awesome. So am I. This should be an easy one to ask, to answer. Should I register a .com.au domain? Okay. Good question. To be honest, I think yes, if you can. So if you're in Australia, if you're in Canada, and and you're running a Canadian store, then
Yep.
run a
.ca.
.com.ca, or if
Either
you're in
one
the
of those will work
UK,
up here, but a .ca works. Yeah.
yeah, or CA, or if you're in the UK, register a
Yep.
.co.uk. If
Yep.
whatever, you register your own domain. If you're in Germany, then it's a .de, I think it is. Um, so yeah, look, register the country you're in now. If you can't, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter. A .com is still uh, pretty generic. You can, everybody knows a .com, so you can still get away with a .com, and it will be fine. So the reason why I'm kind of suggesting to register, say, for example, a .com.au, is if you're in Australia and selling to Australian people, customers, it just kind of shows people that you're in Australia. I know definitely within Australia, people love buying local, right? And it kind of adds that trust value a little bit more. So they see a .com.au and they go, oh yeah, this is an Australian store. They don't need to, think about it too much more. It's definitely in Australia, so you have that trust factor. Um, so that's really the only reason why I recommend using a domain name in your country. Now, there are some restrictions, and I'm skimming through this this text here. In
Yeah.
Australia, I'm not sure about other countries, but I know in Australia, to get a .com.au, you need to have an ABN number, like an Australian business number. So, which is free to do. You can go out there and do that for free, but you need to do that. Now, to get a business name, you have to pay for in Australia. I think it's fairly cheap though. It's about $30 a year or something, and that will get you an Australian business name. But for an ABN, it's free. Anyone can do it, and you need to attach that ABN to the domain registrar. So yeah, basically goes through and gets processed to make sure that you are an Australian business. Um, so if you don't want to do that, or if you don't, again, just go to a .com. .com is still perfectly fine, no problem using a .com. But if you can, yep, use a domain in your country. Okay, and that's it. Good. All right. So that is all the common questions we've got here. We got through that in 24 minutes. Nice one. So what we will do in the future, and if you actually, I can announce it now, but we're going to announce it in module 2 as well in the webinar, is if you want any questions answered um, by us in the office hours, can you just email or submit a support ticket and put
Yep.
office hours question in the subject line, and that will go through to the support team, and they will collate all of the questions and put them into a format that myself and Mike can go through and just kind of answer one by one. So if you want some questions answered, then that's the best way to do it. We'll go through that again in module 2, but yeah, just for now, put a support ticket through, and put the subject of the title is office hours questions or office hours or something like that. Then that will get added. All right. I guess we should go through some of these question and answers box now. I'm right at the top, Mike, so I'm going to be. Some of them we may have already answered, so I'll see if we can go through as quickly as I can. So, is there
Yeah, for
another way
everybody out
to?
there, we've got a lot of questions in there. I think we're going to do our best to get through as many as we can. If we don't get to yours, just realize there's a lot in there and we only have so much time to do this. So if there is something that Vaughn already answered, I already answered, we're just going to skip past those. But otherwise, we'll do our best to spend as much time as we can here, just going through all of these because there's quite a bit of a lineup here. So we'll make it through as many as we can.
There is. All right. Let's just. So let's go. So, is there another way to get the store name or domain name? Look, you can choose your store name however you want. There's plenty of examples in the videos on doing that. And your domain name, you can use whatever register you like. If you want to use GoDaddy or Namecheap or something like that, go for it. There's plenty of examples in the videos on how to come up with store names. Use AI if you want, if you're not very creative like I am. But Namelix is a really good one as well. So plenty of choices there. Um, okay, let me just go through, scrolling through some more here. I have a number of existing domains that might work. They already purchased, so could I send them or mention them? You could mention them. I won't read them out. I don't want to give away any kind of store domain names or anything like that. You can mention them and we can answer them on the chat if you like. So yes, with it, I think that the most important thing with domain names is try and keep them generic. All right, so you don't want, like for example, what I mean by that is don't go out there and create one called ilovepets.com. All right, because well, unless you want a pet store and you want to, just stay
Yeah.
within that niche. But the reason is you can't really put like baby products on ilovepets.com or home and garden products or other niche products on there. So you want to try and keep your domain name as generic as possible so you can pivot and put any product on your store. That's really the idea behind that. So hopefully that kind of makes sense there. All right. Video slides, just getting through some of here.
You said you're at the top, and I think I'm at a different version of the top because I don't see any of those questions that you just went through.
Oh, I think it might have been just before you joined.
Ah, okay,
That's
okay. There we go.
that's
Yeah,
probably why people got in nice and early. So yeah, I'm not even at the six. Yeah, I'm not at the 6 o'clock timestamp yet. So I'm just coming down.
yeah.
Well, for me, it was 6 o'clock. Uh, Alrighty.
Well, Josephine's asking if we're gonna do anything on Klarna, Zip, or Afterpay.
Okay, I've just found that question. Yes. Look, these are kind of country specific. Not all countries have those. It's really easy to do that within Shopify anyway. If you go to the payments part in Shopify, you can just go down to add payment method, and that will allow you to essentially choose any of those types of things and just go through the standard setup. For Zip, I love Zip. I use Zip. Klarna is really popular. I'd recommend that in some countries for sure. Um, yeah. So just go down to add payment method. There's a ton of them in there. You can just search by provider and just go through and add those. I think if we did a video for each one of them, it might be
Oh,
quite long.
yeah.
So okay. Thank you. Uh, Unsafe. So someone's trying to get into Float hosting a website and they received an unsafe website. You maybe have a blocker on, or maybe just have a look if he's got any kind of extensions on your browser. But just sometimes you can just continue through anyway. If they do that, just look for that button. Um, yeah, how do I? Okay, if you're using GoDaddy and setting up Shopify, just yeah, you basically just need to point your domain records through. Just follow the instructions in the Shopify adding domain part. Um,
Well, I'm surprised actually. I use Namecheap for some of my stuff, and they have literally a one-click add to Shopify option in my domain settings. So I just have to type in one thing, click on once, and it just connects it because Shopify is so popular. It's very common. I'm surprised GoDaddy doesn't have something like that. But otherwise, yeah, it's just one or two records that need to be added. Really not much different than float hosting, other than the dashboard will look a little bit different.
Yeah, so just add the A record and the CNAME record into your GoDaddy DNS zones.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't use GoDaddy, so I have no idea where they are. um, but it'll be in there somewhere. If you get stuck, then use Float Hosting, I guess. Uh, when you sign up to Shopify, you can use your personal email address if you want. I just prefer to try and keep everything. I've got 100 different email addresses, so I try and keep things nice and um, easy to manage. So that's why I just use my store email address. So then I get all the relevant emails through to that same email address. So
Well, even a quick little hint on just some planning in the future kind of thing. So when I'm setting up a store, because I'm using a domain level email address, the day that my store is up and ready, that I can pass off to a VA or somebody else, I'm not passing off my personal email address to access this information. I'm actually passing off the store's email address to them so that they can handle it for customer service and that kind of thing as well. So there are other reasons that are, something that you might want to consider for the future on having email separate, like personal email separate from store email address. And that might be one other reason there. At least that's what I use anyways.
yeah, definitely, definitely. All right, I got a question here from Jane. So you were part of the 7 Day Empire training. Well done. So you'd know Mike. That's cool. And you bought a hosting package already, so just use that. That's fine. You don't need to buy another one.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
You can use that. That's fine.
Also, Jane,
And
if you're worried about how many, it says the hosting is only up to 10 websites. Is that 10 domains? Is that right? Not that I expect Jane to reply, I guess, I suppose, but
remember, yeah, you should be able to just add a domain in there. Just create a
yeah.
domain and just add it in the cPanel, and you'll be fine with that. The training states that we have to check with AliExpress to see where the products are available. Oh, look, that's really just to see whether your niche. It's just to validate your niche more than anything, Jane. So, um, like, it's no good selecting a product or a niche where you just don't have many products. Like, it just means that you've probably niched down way too far, and it's way too specific. But it's really just to validate different niches. That's all. Um,
I
okay.
think the next one here, Cindy must be bragging that it's minus 33 with wind chill. Jeez. I left that one up there because I'm in Edmonton as well and I haven't gone outside yet and I don't want to. Minus 33. Oi.
Too cold.
Yeah,
Too
yeah,
cold.
yeah.
Way too cold. All right. Where am I at? It's just jumping around a little bit. Well, I can't believe we're still. There are so many questions in here. We're not going to get through them all, definitely. Um, but okay, that's all right. Let me just.
Oh, this is the blank current value. You went through that in an earlier question here, so that one from Ernest we definitely
Okay,
discussed that already, Ernest.
fine with that one. That's yeah. I was just halfway through reading that. Um, okay. You can't. So you've got a phone number set up. This is one from Melina. So you've got a phone number set up, but you can't figure out how to organize a voicemail. I don't know what. So I think in the phone number video, I use one called Zadama, which is I've just used it forever, and it's like I love it, and I've got all my stores and all my phone numbers for various things set up in there. Uh, I don't know. I don't know where the voicemail part is. It's in there somewhere. Maybe just search in the help part of it. But there's tons of other phone number providers out there. Just if you I don't know which one you're using there, Melina. But another good one that a lot of people use is Hushed. I don't know if people have heard of Hushed. Hushed. Kind of just Google Hushed lifetime phone number. You can get one for I think it's about $25 for life, but you do need to use it once every 6 months, I think. Otherwise, it becomes inactive. So I had one of those years ago, and I forgot to use it. I forgot to keep it active, so I lost my lifetime number, which was a little bit annoying. Um, but yeah, look, I use the one I kind of talked about in the video. I know was the one that I used. You don't have to use that. You can use anything really. Doesn't matter as long as you get one. But if you are using Z Armor, it's yeah, you can send you know you can send them you, the callers straight through to a voicemail. I'd have to bring it up and have a look through and see where that is. But just put put something into the support there and you know Zadama support and they'll take you through it. It's actually pretty good and it's quite good to and quite easy to use. I think. Okay. Just going through the next one. How do you line up different APs like Google Trends, keywords, etc. when you're looking for niche products? How do you line up different APs? What's an AP? What's
I've been trying to think about that. I'm not too sure.
don't know. Not sure what you mean, Bruce. By different APs. Um, I'm trying to think of all the different acronyms that AP could be. could be. So I'm drawing a blank. Sorry, maybe just ask the question again, Bruce.
Access
That'll be
point.
handy. Um, I'd like to connect my domain to Shopify. Yes, the process will take a little while. Just be patient. Uh, okay. Trying to set up Shopify payments and it's defaulting to the US when trying to enter my phone number. How do I change this? I would have done this in the videos probably. Maybe I blanked it out because I was putting my personal information in. It should there should be somewhere. I must have done it because I must have selected Australia when I did it. So there will be a way in there. I don't know if you know the answer to that, Mike.
I
Um,
I don't know that I've ever noticed it defaulting to something different. I mean, half the time when I put my phone number into any website, it automatically thinks it's US just because I have that one at the very beginning of the phone number. Even though it's Canada, the phone number still goes through and it's still fine. I never worry about it because they just kind of lump us together when it comes to that number one before the phone number it is. But as far as the
yeah,
address, I'm a little surprised at the address part, so I'm not sure.
just have a look, see if you can. There might be a drop down, maybe, Cindy. Just sometimes there's a drop down that you can choose your phone number there. Um, all right, Debbie, we'll talk about the product sweet spot pricing in module 2. There's a video on that, so just hang tight for that. There'll be a whole lot of stuff around that. All right. Jan, should my store be up and running after module 1? No, don't activate it yet. That is in module 2. So just follow the videos. Don't do anything else outside the videos. That will be done in module 2. All right. Okay. Feb 8 Zoom seem to be lumped together into Feb 10. So is there really a Feb 8? If it's on the members area, there is really a Feb 8. Yes. There's a couple of ones that we're doing really quick together. So, and it looks like we're going to need them because there's no way we're going to get through all the rest of these questions in time because I will have to go soon. Um, okay. Let's
The next one here, do we always offer free shipping on all products?
all right, good question. I love this. Okay, very good question. Um, I would recommend yes, but it depends. All right, so what you want to, I find, and you can go there and Google this and all that kind of stuff, but usually if you offer free shipping on everything in your website, on all products, then your conversions are going to be better. All right, people love free shipping. Um, Now, if you have a really heavy product, you obviously want to build that shipping cost into your price of the product. So just don't forget that you can get caught out on that sometimes. Like I have, I'm definitely well, my VAs have, where when they've gone through and added products, they haven't looked at the shipping part of the product, and yeah, it gets fixed really fast because you realize that when you go and buy the product, it's costs more than what you're selling it for, and you're thinking, oh no, that's the bad situation to be in, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So always double check that. I can almost guarantee most people are going to get caught out on that at some stage, because I have. So yeah, look. it's good practice to offer free shipping. You don't have to, but if you don't, it's shipping can get really complicated and very logistically challenging if you don't, and if you want to add shipping because you get into all these various weight, you know, factors and um, various combinations on how far away it is from the supply and all that kind of stuff. So I would just simplify it and say offer free shipping on on everything. It just yeah, you're going to get better conversion rates and it's just easier to
I
manage.
think the only caveat I run into for something like that is if I'm in a target market, but I'm going to be shipping to an area that it's automatically going to be three times the price because of shipping. Like being in Canada here, if I were to ship to the, say, the Northwest Territories, it's there's going to be added shipping costs because it's going to some remote location, that kind of thing. So I end up sometimes restricting where my products can be shown or sold or delivered to without some extra shipping after that. So it depends on the target area you're in as well too, and who you're going after. Maybe there's certain areas you don't want to ship to because you can't cover it in free. That's about the only thing I run into there.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, okay, so Steve mentioned in the last webinar that we never have to talk to customers. Is this correct? You don't have to talk to them if you don't want to. We have to set up a phone line. What's the reason for this? Okay, good question, Sharon. So the reason that we want a phone number on your website is for trust. All right, so um, we want customers to trust us. And if you have a phone number on there, it just increases the trust factor. It also helps getting through the Google Merchant Center verification process, and it helps Google trust us as well. Okay, it kind of shows Google and customers that we are real, right? We're not trying to scam them or anything like that, which is we're definitely not. We are a real store, so it just builds that trust and validity within the store. Now, in saying that, just send. I never answer the phone. All my numbers go through to a voicemail, and that
Yep.
voicemail
Yep.
goes to an email address that I just have a look at. Um, so you don't have to talk to customers if you want to. Now, in some cases, and to be honest, I do, especially when there's some nice big orders. Now, as a you know off the cuff example here that I can think of, I had a customer reach out. Would have been a couple of years ago now, and he wanted to buy a chair, gaming chair, looked like a gaming chair. So he reached out to my VA and was trying to contact me. So and he wanted to ask me some questions, and that's all the information I had. So the VA reached out to me and said, "Hey, look, I don't expect my VAs to call customers." So they reached out to me and said, "Hey, can you call this guy? He desperately wants to talk to you." And I was like, "Okay, no problem. I don't, I, you know, so I called him up. He ended up buying 20 chairs off me, right? So that was a pretty good phone call when you think about it. So sometimes you may want to call them and just have a bit of a chat. And sometimes it's just people again just wanting that to build that trust factor and what have
Yep.
you. So I've done, and that's just one example. I've done it multiple times where I've actually called people and I've bought lots of stuff. So it's been really worth it. But you don't have to if you don't want to. Up to you. All right. Can I still proceed with setting up Shopify payments, etc.? Yeah, definitely. Um, Shopify payments is in the module one, so go for it. Yep.
I'm wondering if that question is because the store is still pending approval or, waiting for the DNS to propagate that kind of thing. But otherwise, yeah, even if the domain
Yeah.
isn't quite up yet, just keep moving forward.
Yep. Get into it for sure. Can we pick 6 or 7 niches instead of 5? You can pick as many as you want. You can have one. You can have all of them. Doesn't matter. No restriction. Um, the or maybe this is coming from I don't know where I mentioned 5 in the videos. I think I mentioned maybe I said 3 to 5 to start with or something like that. Really, so what we're trying to do to start with is setting our store up in a really simple way so it makes it look like a really good, genuine store, right? Which is what we want. Now, the reason we want to do that is when in Module 3, when we apply and set up the Google Merchant Center, we want to show Google that we are a good simple, trustworthy, live, proper store. Um, that will give Google, um, you know, good vibes basically, and they'll go, "Yep, cool, your store is good," and they'll let us through. So that's the reason why. But you can have as many niches as you want. Where in fact, when as you move through and you get past all the Google Merchant Center stuff and you start running ads and all that kind of stuff, yeah, do as many niches as you like, no problem. Um, okay, I'd like for my daughter to have her own Shopify store. Yeah, awesome. Is it possible? Yeah, 100%, definitely. I'd recommend it. Both of my I've got three boys, and two of my boys have their own store. So, um, yeah, love it. Definitely do that, Brian. Can we use the same code for more than one store? Yep, definitely. Go for it. No problem at all. All right. Do we use our own or the virtual address when adding a new shop location? I think I covered the address stuff, didn't
It was sorry, this one here. It's got one last question at the end that I thought was different. Do I click on the button to collect tax in the state?
Whereabouts are you doing that?
Oh, same
After
question. It
adding,
says after adding a new address, it pops up asking about sales tax in, I'm guessing one of the US states.
yeah, right. Look, taxes is US's and taxes are confusing. You may know that better than I do, Mike. I'm not sure because
Every
you're
state is
closer.
different. Yeah, yeah.
Everyone's a bit different. If you're not, I think if you're not living in that state, then don't collect. You don't need to collect tax in that state. Like if you're physically not living in that state, I think that's how it works, right? So, um, if you're living in a state that collects tax, then obviously you need to collect tax, right? It's pretty, yeah. Tax questions in the US are, yeah, probably a little bit beyond me, but just
Yeah.
to be, yeah. All right. I have I have a help ticket to customer support. Okay. Not able to
Tammy's
proceed.
stuck. She's waiting for her email to get set up so she can set up her store.
Yeah, right. Until I can finish setting up my domain email. All right. Yeah, cool. Just look, supporter obviously going through all of those questions and they're getting onto them really quickly. So just be patient. Um, I've completed module one. This is a little bit of a bigger one. Let me summarize this here. Set up my shop. Uh, a little bit concerned that you're making some mistakes along the way. Don't worry too much. You don't really need to worry. Every mistake is fixable. So you will be able to fix things later fairly easily, depending obviously, but most of the things you can fix up. Don't worry too much about that. Um,
This one here, again, this is from Cindy. So this is the one where she wasn't able to change her address or phone number to Canada. But now it's saying that it's not letting her change it to Canada. So it's not just a pop-up box. It's that it won't do it. I would say, Cindy, reach out to Shopify support because there's got to be something else in there that's somehow creating it on your store as if you're in the US or as if you're not in Canada, I guess, that it wouldn't let you. Otherwise, it should just work. So I'm really surprised to hear that.
yeah. Alex, I see you said the same question about the phone number. Just check the help documentation for whatever phone number provider you ended up using. It'll be in there. Just have a look. Um, I might have a look when I got a bit more time after this, and we might address it in the next office hours if you like. I can have a quick look in Zadama, and I'll see if I can find it. So just remind me in the next office hours, whenever that is, the end of this week, I think it is, Mike.
Yep. Yep.
I'll have a quick look in Zadama, and I'll let you know exactly where it is if you guys haven't found it by then.
Oh, and there's
Um,
another question two down that's about the exact same thing. So this obviously it's a common one here.
Common one. Yep. Cool. All right. Is it okay to pick a product within a niche that does not show up as a mover and shaker? Yeah, for sure. It's just some guidelines just to try and find some common niches and uh, don't worry about product selection quite yet. Actually, that's probably one thing. We talk about product selection in module two, so don't worry about going out there and finding specific products yet. There's a whole video in and around how to find products. So that's okay. Can you touch on the niche selection? Okay, there were. Yes, Amy. Basically, first, this is really just to validate your niche, right? Just to essentially um, see whether a niche is whether it makes any sense to get into a niche or not. So, for example, the baby niche, right? So you want to go into Amazon, make sure that the baby niche is, has a lot of top selling products. Essentially, is the idea behind that, and just put it into Google Trends, see whether it's there. Whether that niche is actually a trending. Like for example, if you're going to get into the Christmas niche, I probably wouldn't recommend to do that right now. All right, because you're not going to sell anything. Good to do it in November, October, November, December. Maybe December might be a little late, but um, those are the kind of things that we want to validate. I know the Christmas one's probably quite obvious, but there are seasonal niches that you probably want to stay away from depending on what country you're going into. Right. So, for example, no use doing skiing in Australia right now because it's in the middle of the summer and it's 35 degrees. I think we're going to get 35 degrees Celsius today. So it's going to be a hot one. So yeah. Okay. Whoa, where are we going? What is the tool widget that Aiden showed in an earlier presentation that showed the volume sold on the search screen? I don't know. I didn't. I didn't. Sorry, I'm probably bad on me, but I didn't watch any of the kind of webinars in the sales webinars or anything like that. So I'm not sure the types of things that Aiden went through. I don't know whether you caught any of them, Mike.
I did, but I guess I'm assuming this question is about volume of products sold in a Shopify store, which I presume would be, on the Shopify dashboard showing how, like, you can actually pull up reports and get into more details, and they'll show you charts as well too. Otherwise, I'm not sure where else there would be anything indicating volume sold. So
Maybe you're talking about Vulcan actually. Maybe Vulcan. Vulcan is going to be
oh, yeah,
introduced.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just thought of that. Yeah,
Right.
there'll be Vulcan. Tim. You're probably talking about that. So Vulcan is going to be introduced in Module 2. So on Module 2 is coming out soon. So yeah,
Oh, I'm excited
excited
for
for
that
that.
one. Oh yeah.
Going to be awesome. So okay, Michelle. I'm in Australia. Nice
Oh,
one.
this is a tax question.
Maybe I have to answer this maybe because
Yeah,
I do
well,
know
you
about
can
Australian
maybe, yeah.
tax. Probably quite relevant. If I choose Australia as my third country, yet do I need to charge GST? Okay, GST for everyone is goods and services tax. I know you probably got it in some of the other countries too, like New Zealand
Yep.
and the UK.
Canada
Actually,
as
no,
well, yeah.
UK's VAT, isn't it? So you uh, you need to charge GST. So you don't need to until you have an annual. Yes, you're right. You don't need to do it until you're registered for GST, until you reach an annual turnover of 75,000. All right. So that's cool. So yeah, makes it nice and easy. But you will see. Should we connect our business virtual phone number to our business domain email? Uh, Yeah, I guess if you want to get the email addresses, you can send it to any email address. I guess for your voicemail, I'm guessing you're talking about there, Teresa. Um, should we connect to our personal phone number too? You don't need to do that. No,
Yeah.
you just set up a virtual number, and that's all you need to do. You don't need to kind of do anything else really. Pretty straightforward. Okay. Oh, this is a big one. The next one. Maybe just try just as a little bit of a tip for everyone asking questions. If you can just kind of summarize the questions a little bit, it gives us a little bit more time to go through. Otherwise, we're going to read through the whole question. Um, I'm not going to point out anyone's names or anything like that, but just try and summarize them a little bit so we can get through them a little bit quicker when we're reading. Um,
Well, this
okay.
one here with Mandy, if I'm reading this right, it looks like Mandy also wants a family member to jump in and have their own store, which of course they can, absolutely.
Yep. Go for it. Absolutely. Do it. Love it. I love that kind of stuff. Um,
The second question they have is they chose a .com, but they also want to target the UK.
Okay, good question. I would probably just do one at a time. Try not to don't do too much. So just get one store up and going, get it working and profitable and all that kind of stuff, and then expand into a different country. Is my suggestion there. Okay. Do we need to fill out all the shipping info ourselves? Uh, That'll probably be addressed. I'm guessing when you're talking about when you order products and when you sell a
When
product
you
and all that
sell
kind of
something.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That'll be addressed in a future video. So, okay.
John's got a question here about reusing a domain that was used in an e-commerce environment. I actually suggest against that if you can. And I have personal experience on this, and that's why Vaughn's laughing right now. So
You do.
if
Uh,
that domain was connected to something that is linked to any products, any listing, another store, it's funny. I did this here where I tried switching it over to Shopify, and Google still had old links that were connected to that store, even though the store was shut down, months or years ago or whatever it was. But Google still got stuck when I was getting the GMC approved. Again, we're getting ahead of ourselves here because we haven't even done that part of the training. But John, I do encourage you to actually don't use an old domain, especially if it was connected to something else, because when they check your Google Merchant Center verifications and look at that old domain, Google's systems on the back end are going to see links that go to something else that doesn't exist anymore. And you might get an issue where they say broken link or links go into some area and it's redirecting or whatever it is. So, brand new domain, just don't worry about recycling, just work on a new one there.
yep, yep, definitely. A lot easier just to use a brand new one. Come up with a new one. It's really easy to do. Okay, we've got about 4 minutes. I want to smack on the hour here. So we'll probably just have enough time for another couple of questions, and then we'll finish up. So I know there's still a lot of questions left, so we will have another office hours. And like I said before, don't forget just to, if your question hasn't been answered yet, then just send a support ticket in with office hours questions in the subject line, and we will address it in the next office hours. Okay, so we'll just do a couple of other quick questions. Do we still need to find a niche if we're doing a general store? Uh, Look, you don't have to. It, how can I explain this? So the reason we want to kind of start with a couple of niches or just one niche is really just to validate our store through the Google Merchant Center. All right, so what we're going to be doing, and this will get explained in the upcoming modules as well, but we want to just start with anywhere between say 1 and 5 products, and then we'll submit our approval through to the Google Merchant Center. The reason we do that is if you go out there and add 100 products or 200 products to your store, and then apply for the Google Merchant Center, and you get denied, or you get flagged for a policy violation or something like that, you're going to have to go through all of those products to find out which one caused that issue, right? Which is going to be time consuming for you. Now, if you only have 1 to 5 products listed on your store, you just need to check those ones. So it's going to be a lot quicker to go through and fix up your violation or what have you there. So that's why. So we just want to start out just initially with a few products on your store. And that's why I said in the niche video, just find something. Doesn't matter what it is. It can be anything. It could be a niche that you're not even doing it. You just find a couple of things to kind of. Google likes it when you've kind of got a bit of a branded store. So for my store example, like Zafty.com, I've kind of branded it around that home decor kind of thing, right? But I may not do home decor. I might start putting pet products up there or baby products or something like that, right? It's just to get through the Google Merchant Center for now. That's all. So I hope that kind of makes sense. We are doing a general store, but within specific niches. So it just allows you flexibility to go out there and test products and all that kind of stuff. That's all. All right. Probably one more question I think we've got here, Mike. Jan, so I'm based in the US. The shipping section of Shopify was already populated with general shipping and a free. Okay, you just got to go through and clear out all the shipping options in Shopify. I think I did that in the video. I know the shipping part in Shopify is is a little bit confusing. Um,
Yeah.
it's not easy, but just go out there and clear out and just start kind of from fresh and just add a new option in there for the US if you like, and just add the free shipping. Just follow the videos. The videos kind of go through. You might have to kind of go back and rewind and and what have you in that video there just to review it. But yeah, just delete basically delete what's there and start fresh with it and just set up a new one. It's the easiest way to do it. All right. Okay. Now, sorry for everyone else who's asked questions. I know there is an absolute stack of them, and to be honest, if we went through and answered all of them, we would be here till probably, it's 7 o'clock here now for me. We'd probably be here till 7 p.m. tonight, going through answering them all. So, apologies if we haven't got to your question. Hopefully, that has clarified, most of them there for you. So, that's good. We will go through and answer as many other questions as we possibly can in the next office hours. Um, but yeah, I really want to keep this to an hour. I don't want to go. Don't want to get into a bit of a habit of flying over the time and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that helps and
Well,
clarifies
and
some
hopefully
things.
what we
And
just went through will answer a lot of these questions we have in the queue anyway. So I don't think that we're ignoring as much because as I'm scrolling through these while you're talking, Vaughn, there's a lot of them that are, I want to say a little bit repetitive just because by the time we get to one question, it ends up answering the next five or six in that same area kind of thing. So, but yeah, please, if you have more questions, set them aside, bring them back to the next office hours. That's why we're going to be doing these very, very frequent as you go through the program. And like Vaughn was saying, send in a support ticket as well, and we can address it there too.
yep, definitely. All right, have a look. If you want to know when the next office hours are, just jump into the members areas. All of the dates and all those kind of things are in there, and register in there. And we will see you on the next one. It's been awesome going through all these, and good to
Yeah,
see you again, Mike.
you
And
bet,
we'll
man.
see everybody on the next office hours. Okay, have a good day, everybody, wherever you are. See you next time. Thanks,
Take
guys.
care. Right on.